Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. We are live. Thank you so much for your support at a kind of weird time, but we appreciate you being live and dropping your comments. We have a special episode today. We have the mid-season reviews. We're gonna then be discussing and evaluating from 1 to 10 um, our opinions on the squad so far, and based on the highly chaotic, high scoring, yet defensively kind of bad squad that we had for the past half the season. Just pure honesty, pure opinions. And then after that, we'll dive in some of the rumors that have been brewing lately about Orlando City, a couple of signings or whatnot. And then we'll dive into the Usmnt's national team roster. Came out for the World Cup with a lot of controversy. And we'll does the U.S. men's national team have what it takes to be top two in their group? So we'll see about that. I'm here with David. What's up, my friend? Good to see you again.
What's going on, Luis? Good to see you. Good to see everybody in here today. I know it's a funky time, but life comes at you. You do what you can.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to break it down. I'm curious to see where we all kind of fit in this rating of the mid-season, and then some funky rumors coming out the last couple days, Luis, that we probably should touch on just in case our fans aren't in our Discord. Plug the Discord a little bit there.
Yeah.
We talked about it a bit in there, but yeah, some weird rumors, and I'm sure Luis has got some opinions about those rumors as well. So we'll see what he thinks and kind of where this all came from, because it's a little strange.
Sure. If you want to join our Discord, we're going to essentially send the link right now, and just make sure that you join. It's pretty easy. It's free, and it's a way to keep up with the community and with the show. And if you ever want to ask us any questions, you can certainly do so. So I'm dropping it on right now. So make sure you join there. But yeah, let's start doing our mid-season review. It's been let's start with goalkeepers. I know that John also provided his numbers, right?
He did, yeah. So as we go through the position groups, I'll reveal John's numbers. Shout out to John. He'll probably watch this at a later time, most likely. But and then we did a fun thing on the last column for when people kind of eke in here. Feel free to give us your score. We're gonna score the players and the position groups 1 through 10. So obviously 1 being very bad, awful kind of number, and then 10 being the best you've ever seen. So feel free, if you're in the chat, when we get to each player, drop a number. Say, if we're talking about Crepeau, put Crepeau and then your number, so we can see what everyone's feeling.
100%. So let's start with you. You want to start, or you want me to start?
I can give it a go on the first one.
So let's do this. You start on one category, then I start on the next one.
Yeah, sounds good, man. We'll do it that way. So, for Maxime Crepeau, I gave him a 5. I went right down the middle and gave him a 5. Just about as average as you can get when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Look, I agree with David. I also gave him a 5, and it's not because he's meh. I mean, he's shown a lot of good stuff, I do want to say, but also you have to understand you have one of the worst defenses in the league, and I'm not being shy about it. We're one of the worst defenses in the league. So with that, conceding 6 against Cincy, and then you got 3 against Miami and Philly. Mm-hmm. It is a little tedious. But one thing I could tell you on the positive note is that after Coronel and all of that good stuff, out of the list of all those keepers that you see there, I think he's been a good signing for the club. And a lot of the goals are not his responsibility. So now there were a couple that they were positioning, sure. and we can sit down and nitpick, but I think A 5 is excellent. Now, the reason why he's gotten a 5 and not maybe a 3 or a 4 is because he's been busting his butt because to make it to Team Canada, to be the number 1 for Canada. So
Right.
now
Okay.
we have Javier Otero, right?
So Otero, I had a tough time a little bit originally scoring him. I was gonna score him lower, but I ended up giving him a 4.5 out of 10. And the reason for it is, you have to give him credit for the Naples match. He technically did get a clean sheet. I know you can argue that maybe it shouldn't have been a clean sheet, whatever it was. And then he had a couple matches in there where you were like, ugh, not good on a lot of different reasons. But I think there was enough good there to not give him a lower score of like a 4 or 3.5. So I went 4.5, a little bit below average.
I give him a 4. And the reason why I give him a 4 is because we really, aside of the Atlanta US Open Cup match, we haven't really, aside of the US Open Cup matches, we haven't really seen a lot of him. Mm-hmm. I'm glad, though, on the positive side, that he's being called out for Venezuela. So that's good on him. And I'm sure he's going to have more minutes. I am on the boat of him starting in Leagues Cup. I don't think we need to give Crepeau on that tournament at all. Unless we make it to the final, which I highly doubt, with all due respect. But
yeah, maybe if you make it to the, because it's semifinals, finals, maybe semifinals, you turn it back over to Crepeau. But
now,
yeah, I agree with you.
You, David, that are a OCSC OG, you know how many bad keepers we've had, and I think we're okay if we really, it always a little bit of the of the negative, right?
All right, so let's see what John put, because I think it'd be interesting to see what John was thinking. So John said he gave Crepeau a 5.5.
Okay.
And he gave Javier Otero a 5. So he gave him a better score. Honestly, both of them, he gave them better scores for both. So, yeah, not bad. We're all pretty close, I think, in how we feel about that. John a little bit more confident in Maxime Crepeau. Again, if fans want to put their scores in there, feel free to drop them in the chat.
Yeah, make sure you drop your comments. Yeah,
and we'll definitely look at your score for that. But in the meantime, while we let the fans kind of percolate on all that, let's move to defenders, Luis, a position that has been quite tough for Orlando City this year. But we're gonna maybe start with a bright spot. Griffin Dorsey is the first name on the list.
Look, I'm gonna go for a 7.
Oh, okay.
All right. And because of the goals win games, goals set momentum, but the defense, man. I mean, he could be one of the best players, I think, one of the most influential players. Mm-hmm. But I think lately, when he went into this scoring run, that's when we started seeing what he was worth. In the beginning, it was a little flimsy, and I think it's because he was getting acclimated, and it kind of costed him a little bit. But I think he's getting it. I think he ends the mid-season on a high. The team on an individual, on a collective low, but I think him on a high. So good for him. So I go for 7.
I was pretty close with you, Luis. I did a 6.5, so I was slightly lower on him. The reason for it, I think, is you kind of hit on it. Is his defense was a little tough for me. There were times where I just again, I get that he has goals and I get that he's contributing on the offensive side, but he still needs to remember that he's a wing back, and part of the wing back role is you need to defend at times, right? And I think when we saw him in his 1v1 defending, it wasn't the best that you wanted to see. I think he even admitted to us, right, a few times in his press conferences, Luis. I think he even answered some of your questions where you basically said, where you talked about especially when the defense was rough, you asked him, hey, what does the defense need to do to get better? And he pointed to himself first and said, hey, we can all collectively defend better, but I can personally defend better as well. So, yeah, a little bit lower for me, but still really good. 6.5, I think, is the sweet spot for him. All right, what about the homegrown boy, the boy that's watched Orlando City since the beginning, and Zachariah Taifi?
For what he has shown, I mean, number one, it's a little unfair because he's had limited minutes.
Hmm.
I wish he would have had more minutes. I hope that Perlman, if he's still here or he's not, or the front office, they decide to put him more. For what we've seen, there's two things I like. I like his attitude. I think he
Hmm.
has a footballer's mind, footballer's
Hmm.
mentality. He has a swag on him that it's hard to replicate in the world of soccer. So good for him on that.
Hmm.
Very professional, and he's done really good in Open Cup, I feel. So I'm gonna go for a 5.
A 5. Okay.
I'm gonna go for a 5.
Very nice. Um, my score is going to be a little skewed here. I'm a big fan of Zach Taifi. I've been a big fan of Zach Taifi since I've seen him with OCB. I think his Open Cup run has been good to very good at times, depending on which games you look at
Yeah,
and how he gets involved. I still believe that he has a role on the first team that he's not being utilized as right now. And to me, that is sort of the Kyle Smith role of last year, but he takes it up a notch. So to me, he's like the closer when it comes to fullbacks, right?
I agree.
Bring him on either side. I think he can defensively close down a game for you, number one. But then I think, secondly, he still gives you enough in attack so that he can make a difference. He's not like the out and out attacker like Griffin Dorsey, but he's still very good in attack. And we saw that in the New England Open Cup game. We've seen that when he got his first professional assist to Thiago. So for me, I gave him a 6. I gave him a full point higher. I think a little bit of my score too is that I see his potential. I think more than other
100%.
people do.
100%.
And what really put the icing on the cake for me was his OCB game. I know it wasn't with the first team,
Yeah.
but watching him with OCB this last weekend really proved to me that Zachariah Taifi has very much has a role in this team. Now, does the coaching staff play him is another question, and we can discuss that obviously at another point.
I just hope that he gets more minutes in the second half of the season. I just
Agreed.
hope. I just hope that because again, I think very highly of him as well. It's hard to rate somebody that has not played a lot. Now I think that's on Perlman, right, and his
Sure.
coaching staff.
Sure.
Now we've seen great players leave Orlando. You know, we just saw Thomas Williams. We saw as well as Shaq Mohammed. We saw at some point, the guy who went to Toronto. I forgot his name too. He also left the club. I forgot his name.
You talking about Richie Larea?
Richie Larea as well. So
Yeah.
let's not commit the same mistakes, especially with a homegrown somebody that really feels the colors, right? That really bleeds purple, right?
Yeah.
Because he has double nationality. I'm sure he can go play in Morocco. Morocco's top notch when it comes to soccer. Don't downplay
Yeah.
Morocco when it comes
and to give you some info, Luis. So Zachariah Taifi on the whole team, he's 17th in minutes. He's gotten in 10 matches this year, 336 minutes for the first half of the season. So he's like middle of the pack basically to start the season. So I'd like to see him, honestly, and I know this maybe sounds crazy. I think if he's in the top 10, that's good for this team. And people might look at me and think I'm kind of crazy in terms of top 10 minutes, but to me, he should be the first selection off the bench if you're looking for a defensive sub, unless it's a center back. I can understand if you want to bring on like another center back for that. But I also think that, and I know it's not really league play, but like, he should play a pretty big role in Leagues Cup this year. He should be your starting right back in Leagues Cup. I don't think it's going to happen for Monterrey, but I think it very much could happen for Lyon and San Luis. So that's what I would say that he needs to do. And I could see certain games, depending on the manager, again, I could see certain games where maybe you have a preference to start Taifi over Dorsey. And I know that might be crazy to hear for some people, but if you want to play more of a defensive game, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you give the keys to Taifi a little bit more.
In a perfect world, there's going to be games for Taifi and his features. That's where the coach, when they know their squad from the in and out, and they're unbiased, kind of like Brian Schmelzer, for example, in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why do you think Raul Ruidiaz left You've had Joao Paulo, stay with an injury, but you had a lot of people come and go out of Seattle, and he still wins championships. He brought Paul Rothrock in there. He's brought know-how, as well. The people from Tacoma Defiance. So we have the model, but we just don't have the person that's going to maximize what our academy is going to bring out, right? So my question is, this kid's talented. Let's not waste him, because
Agreed.
he could be another young Paul Rothrock. He could be another Christian Roldan. I mean, clearly, the kid has massive potential. Let's not just rely on the same old, right?
And Luis, can I say this to kind of finish up our conversation on Taifi? Is I think he should also start to get more playing time at left back, because Angulo's going to need breaks, right? I know he really
100%.
hasn't this season, but he's going to need breaks. And I don't want to take anything from Tahir Reed-Brown, and we'll talk about him a little bit later. Shout out to Tahir if you're watching. Obviously a good friend of the pod. We had him on a couple weeks ago. I just think he's a different style of back. So if you want to bring Tahir on and you really want to lock the game down, that's Reed-Brown to a nutshell, right? That's his game. That's his bag. He's good at that. He's getting better at the professional level, but he's very good at the OCBA level at that. He's getting better at the MLS level. But Zachariah Taifi, if he could play either side, if you can really get him comfortable enough to truly play left wing back or right wing back, it gives him more opportunities to get into the game and could potentially make a difference for Orlando City. And I think that's where coaching needs to be a little more creative on how they use Taifi going forward. But anyway, Luis, let's talk about El Capitan. Let's talk about Robin Janssen. What did you give Robin Janssen?
Look, great captain, great human being. Definitely left his mark in the club, but he's a solid 4. Like,
okay.
I think he's been struggling in some games. I think he's a club legend, but a defense that gives up 5 against Nashville and 6 to Cincinnati, and then the injuries, right? I just think that, and that goes, and again, I mean, I know that we have him next, but it's probably the same for David Brecolo, to be honest with you. They just look disorganized against elite level strikers. And at times. Now, is he evolving? Is he better? Yes. He gave a little bit of a push to Iago. I think he helped Iago, right? But I'm gonna go for a 4 for Janssen.
Okay. I'm a little bit higher than you are, and I think this is more so because I'm thinking about what he did initially to bring the team together. Obviously, the loss to Cincinnati is a tough one, but I gave him a 5. Okay. I thought a 5 was fair. I think he has been middle of the road for kind of the reasons you said. Availability is a big part of it for me. He just wasn't available to start the season. I understand things happen, but his loss in the beginning of the season was huge for this club. Huge, I mean, honestly, huge. You could argue he lost Oscar Pareja his job. Arguably, you could say that, right? I know it was a mutual termination. Don't get me wrong. But if Robin Janssen is in there week 1, does this team suffer as big of losses as they did? I don't know. I don't know that you can say that, right? And so I think, and listen, he's doing a great job teaching the young kids, trying to get Iago to the level. I've heard also he's worked with Nolan Miller as well when he's had an opportunity to work with Nolan Miller, who unfortunately has been banished to the Shadow Realm until last weekend. But I think this season we are seeing very much how little tread Robin Janssen has left on the tires, right? You could tell that he is getting towards the end of his career, and that's okay because he's so cerebral that most of the time he's fine. But when even when he's cerebral, but his athletic ability lets him down, that's when you start to say, okay, this is a problem, right? And so that's the issue that you kind of run into. And again, I know he's got 1 more year left on his deal because remember he signed a 2-year deal to kind of see it out. I wouldn't be surprised if after this season he is just the mentor role going forward, right? It's just making sure these guys are ready to go, they're prepared, and that he's kind of the coach from the bench kind of thing.
He should. Yeah. I'm not saying get rid of him.
Sure.
I agree 100% what you say. I think he should have some sort of role. I think he could come off the bench and give him a solid 35 minutes. I think he's going to be great for him. Not only that, Robin, that time that you're playing, go and start studying for your license for coaching. I think he'll be a great coach for Orlando City at some point. You
Sure.
know, he has the edge. He has the like I said, he worked with Nolan Miller. He worked with Iago. Now they also the front office kind of threw Iago on the fire
They did.
because there wasn't any other center back. They threw Nolan Miller on the fire. Now I'm gonna give mad props to both Iago and Nolan Miller for this, because for an athlete that just first starts in the MLS and you go boom, like, without any say, without, it's your first time wearing purple. Kudos to you. I know
Yeah.
it didn't go the way of Orlando City, but it shows that they're team players right now. Jansen, I think he definitely has the space for Orlando City. I just feel Orlando needs to open up the wallet and get a new monster in the defense.
Yeah, and I think that's the great point that you bring up and that's what I wanted to bring up next. I was having a great chat with Mike Spillane and John W, both from some of the other pods, and one of the things we were talking about is defenders and about what that looks like in terms of what we should do. And I've been banging the drum for get Janssen's replacement now, right? I don't want to wait until he's out of contract and then we got to try to find the guy.
100%.
Bring this guy in now. Get this guy acclimated. You don't get him in a situation like with Iago or Nolan Miller where you have to just toss him into the lineup and hope they work out. Bring this guy in now and say, hey, we want you to be the leader of the back line in about a year's time, right? When next season starts, like the sprint season maybe even, we want you to be the guy. But for now, just learn about the club through Robin Janssen, right? Learn about how this club wants to play through Robin Janssen. But a guy who obviously has the skill set, has the speed, maybe is on the younger end, of course, because you want to hopefully be looking for a younger one. Unless you're going to get a world-class center back, I don't know, Virgil van Dijk or something like that, right? Which I don't think is going to happen, but that's my point.
Well, you mentioned a great point. A lot of so from the defensive players, usually, especially the center backs and the goalkeeper, they have a little more longevity. You see keepers playing until they're like 42, 43, right?
Sure.
Like Luigi Buffon. You also have
look at Memo Ochoa.
Right, you gotta look at Memo Ochoa. look at Chiellini, center back, right?
Keylor
Antonio
Navas.
Carlos getting to that level too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but unfortunately with Jansen, he could be the same, and I'm not doubting that. It's just the injuries, and
that's got to concern you,
And MLS is a very physical, very fast-paced league. And the traveling is grueling.
For sure. Yeah. All right, let's move to David Brecalo, a divisive center back for some, maybe. But what are you thinking, Luis?
I'm going to give him a solid 3.
Oh, okay, 3.
Why a 3? Number one, I've heard from sources he don't want to play left back. To me, he's still a good left back. He did it the whole entire season. He should have been a left back on a line on a 4 on a back 4. In the end, Perlman decided to do a back 3, and he decided to do it. Second of all, inconsistency when it comes to marking 1v1. It's just, to me, it's not his suit, because he's more a back, not a center back. So again, I understand he definitely in Slovenia and all of that. It's different in the MLS. It's completely different, and it's not against him. He scored, I think, a goal, right, of a header. Well, he's a defender. That's what you're there to do, either way, and that's fantastic. But I haven't really seen him engaged like before. Like if you see footage of last year, David Brecalo, the dude was spot on, engaged, trying to go forward, recuperating the ball. In the game against Cincy, he's like looking away, looking in the sky, completely dismissed. So we need to see hopefully a fire lit inside you know, inside David Brecalo. He's not a bad player. He's not a bad defender.
Mhm.
He did not have the best half the season in the MLS this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I'm kind of with you as well. He was also banged up. Don't forget, there were some games
Yeah.
that he missed because of injury. I gave him a 3.5. I was about half a point higher than you
Okay.
were on it. But I'm going to be a little bit more critical. I'm going to say I think he needs to be sold in the summer. And I know for some people that might be shocking, and I know for others it probably isn't. I would hope it's not a shock because, guys, the salary that he's on, the contributions he's made to the back line, now that he's kind of, again, from what we've heard, he only wants to really play certain positions. I'm not looking for that in a player. You got to be a team
100%.
player through and through. You got to be healthy through and through. And to be honest with you, I don't think he's played enough good games to dictate sort of this is how I want to be, this is how I want to play. And so I think at this point, again at a 3.5, what it's, you have him at a 3. I think for what it's been with what he's making, I think it's time to say thanks, David Brecalo, but we're good. We'll send you back to Europe or wherever you want to go, but it's not here, right? And I don't think it's the fit. And it honestly just makes me even more kind of sad that Dusan Stojanovic fell through, because I think, and again, I don't think I'm going out on a limb with this, I think Dusan could have been better than what David Brecalo has given us this year, and I don't think that's a far reach at all. Obviously, Dusan had the serious injury and hasn't played minutes yet this year, but I'm just saying if he was healthy, if things were different, I think he could have been better than Brecalo this year, and I don't think that's a reach at all.
I think if we do the proper scouting, we would have to bring a ready to go plug and play TAM player, right, for
Sure.
defense. I think all of our mid and defense is not going to be a DP. I will be highly surprised if,
Yeah,
let's say,
defense, I don't think so. I have a thing about mid later on, but
right.
defense, I don't
So
think so.
let's say Pasalic leaves. God forbid he leaves. He leaves the club with $11 million, right? He goes to Borussia Mönchengladbach, okay? And he goes to Borussia Mönchengladbach, and okay, we're going to use 3 million out of the 11 million that we got. We're going to put it on TAM, plus whatever remainder we have on TAM. Now, you can get TAM ready talent from abroad for sure.
Sure.
But I feel it's time to do a mix. You're attacking third, international. Fantastic. That's like MLS, kind of like what LAFC does. You're attacking third from the back, moving back. US. Try to look within the MLS. I mean, with all due respect, Brecalo has been so inconsistent, or our backline in general has been so inconsistent.
Yeah.
You could have found talent. Like, for example, I was so surprised why Justin Hack was never picked up. You know what I mean? Like, I was.
We went to LA.
Right.
Yeah.
But we didn't even go for him. You know what I mean?
Allegedly,
and now, obviously,
we don't know. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, obviously, we don't know. But like I said, like I'm saying, is right now he's not really doing too great in LA either. But at least is an MLS ready player. I think we need more MLS ready talent, especially on defense.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously you want to groom Iago to be that Antonio Carlos 2.0,
sure.
but much younger.
Who's a center back or two in the league that you think Orlando City should maybe just try to take from a team?
I think I would have loved to see Walker Zimmerman in Orlando. I think he would have gone. He had a leadership. U.S. men's national team former. You know, yes, a little older, but I mean, not a lot of injuries this season. I mean, he's been great. I mean, and then with that, you have another role to groom. Not only you have Jansen, but also you have Zimmerman to groom Iago, because Iago is your guy. You know what I mean? And you don't put Iago on the fire, and then everybody calls him names, and they criticize him, and it's a bad signing. I still have a lot of full faith on Iago. But I just think that they just threw him into the fire thinking that he was going to swim. And it's not, you cannot swim within the fire. You gotta you know
Yeah.
you need experience to extinguish that fire, and it's just it's not his fault. So, but yeah,
Okay. Guys, don't forget we are doing a fan vote for these players. So
we have some
if you want to
comments.
toss if you
Yeah,
want to
we have
toss
some comments.
your thing in there, you can toss your votes.
We have some comments. We have Mr. 5580, Mr. Burns. There you go. Miami are signing Casemiro. Orlando should sign Fabinho before someone else does, and he will help balance the team's defensive structure. I agree with you,
I
but
like the idea of Fabinho. The club has to be willing to spend that DP spot on a midfielder.
that'll be unheard of if they do.
For this club.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think but again, I think he's a great fit. I think he stabilizes your midfield immediately. The only issue I could see them running into is I don't know how much he's making in Saudi. I think that's the only thing I'd be concerned about.
Time bomb Tom says I had 5.5 on Jensen. I'm just
Okay.
thinking of the games before him versus after. He definitely came in and solidified the back line. He's lost step. He's slowing down, but he hasn't been all bad. Yeah. So he's been the shit. Ship Brekalo out. It says bring Rodrigo Schlegel back. I mean, he's
I
doing
think he's
pretty
happy.
good.
I think he's happy at Atlas.
Yeah. This is Brekalo. I agree with the 3. Taifi, I'm a
Hmm.
5.5. Dorsey, I'm a 7.5. Says
Okay.
Time Bomb Tom. Thank you guys.
Interesting.
Appreciate your comments. Let's go to Iago.
Yeah, what do you think about Iago, the young Brazilian?
All right, I'm gonna give him a 4 as well. I just
Okay.
think he's evolving.
Mm-hmm.
He was thrown into the fire. I think Jansen helped out a lot into kind of grooming him, and also I've heard per sources that they've been working with him tremendously. A lot of the veterans like Tincho and you know, even Angulo talking to him and stuff. I've heard also per sources that some of the veterans are talked in within the group. They're talked like Ivanchito, Ivancho, Tinchito, Tincho, Tincho. But if Iago messes up, he's like, "Come on, Iago, what are you doing, man?" I've heard there's differences in how some of the players are talked to. I've heard amongst all the issues coming into a new country, being there, the new the new fireman trying to extinguish all the fire in the defense. I think the kid it's ending the mid-season, even though I wish he would have played a little more instead of Brecalo, maybe him and Jansen.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was on a high, and then Perlman stopped it, put Brecalo and Jensen on there, and he was shunned to the bench. I don't know why. We don't know, but
Sure.
I hope we can see him more. I think he's the future. I think he's a good talent.
Uh-huh.
He was MVP of the Copa Libertadores under 20s, one of the best defenders. That's one of the reasons why I think the front office thought, okay, well, this kid is pretty much ready to go.
He had the most goals for a defender in that whole competition. So
Yeah, so I'm gonna give him a 4, but with the expectation that he's definitely gonna have a better season down the road. I think he's gonna thrive in Orlando. I have no doubt.
So for me, I gave Iago a 5.5.
Okay.
And I know some people might think I'm crazy because I only gave Robin Janssen a 5. So they're like, "Oh, you're saying Iago is better than Robin Janssen?" I'm saying in this moment, based on the momentum that Iago was growing and everything else, I do think he is half a point better than Robin Janssen right now. And I'll tell you why. To your point, Luis, this poor kid was thrown into the fire, which was never the expectation of what was supposed to happen when he got brought in, right? We had that confirmed by people from the club and all that kind of stuff, that the goal was to never throw him into the fire, right? And so when he did, he took his licks, and it was tough, right? And he had some tough games to start. But as he started to grow and understand this team better and understand this league better, and get used to all these things. He was really starting to grow, and then Perlman went like this and stopped it. I don't know why,
I don't
but
know
he
why
went like
either.
this and he stopped it. And he put in Brecalo and Marine, which, spoiler alert, Marine's grade for me isn't much better than what Brecalo's was, right? So to me, I think that 0.5 there is the potential that I see in what Iago can bring to this team day in and day out. Because, guys, there is not a single defender on this list that is nearly as physical as Iago is. Like, he is the only one on this list that is as physical as you want him to be. David Brecalo has moments where he's physical, but I think he does them in the wrong moments. Iago knows how to body people, and he just gets in the way where he needs to get in the way. And I think he's going to be crucial on set pieces if this team can figure out how to get him involved on set pieces.
Yeah, he's gonna have a massive future. I think he's gonna be again. I think the reason why the club brought him in is because of his acumen. Obviously, his acumen is impeccable for an under 20.
Yeah.
You don't diminish or talk badly about an acumen of being the champions of under 20s in Copa Libertadores with a huge club like Flamengo. So, so that's number one. Number two, I think they brought him in because Orlando has had success with Antonio Carlos. I mean, they won a cup with him.
Sure.
And I mean, if you're getting a better, I mean, think about it, a better Antonio Carlos, younger, faster, stronger, but obviously just like any player. And look, right now we're going to be talking about Tincho and Angulo and all those players. Those players, when they first came to Orlando, it cost the MLS was tough for them. There was a bunch of episodes. If you listen to our episodes from back then, 2 or 3 years ago, we're like, Tincha needs to be traded, right? He is not working out, and again, sometimes the adaptation takes a little bit of time, even though he's elite in CONMEBOL for an under 20. So, but kudos for him because he did not shy away from the challenge, and I think I value that. And I wish I could see him more. I think he should. I don't know why Perlman stopped him. I don't know if he's sick, if he got a knock or whatever. If it's precaution, we don't know. But I wish we could see him more in the second half of the season. I think he's the future.
Agreed. Guys, don't forget fan score. If you got fan scores for Iago, let us know. We're moving on to Nolan Miller, the Wolverine.
Another piece that, man, another guy who unfortunately was thrown in the fire as well. And he had a couple of good performances. I'm gonna give him a 3.5.
Okay.
I just think that again, we wish we would have seen him a little more when maybe if the club would have signed a veteran center back that somebody like Zimmerman that could have kind of held his hand and try to help him out. But I think he was a great pick in the draft. I think he was one of the best picks. And the kid's great. I mean, his attitude, the way he did the pressers, professional. I mean, the kid's gonna get far. I want to tell Nolan Miller though, do not get demoralized. He has a huge career ahead of him. And I think with, and this sounds so bad, with maybe a better, with somebody else at the helm, maybe they're able to bring out his talents a little more. Maybe he's going to have more time in the U.S. Open Cup in the latter stages, maybe in the Leagues Cup. I think there's still space for Nolan Miller, and I'm happy that he's an Orlando City Lion.
Yeah, I was a little bit higher than you. I put him at a 4, but again, I think it's because he got beat up a little bit in the beginning. I can see the potential there. I can see, and I heard obviously in preseason that Nolan Miller really helped this team train in the preseason and whatnot. And I know some people might say, but our preseason didn't seem very great, especially after the Colorado walloping that we took before the season started. But listen, a little bit of recency bias for me too. He played with OCB this past weekend as well. I think he was solid the entire match. I think, honestly, until he can start getting regular looks with the first team again, he should play with OCB. And I don't think there's any harm in doing that, right? Give him some time to play with OCB. I think he makes a good partner with Clovis Arshange, which is, again, a kid you should be looking at for the future. If you don't know who he is, go look at him,
Yeah,
because
Clovis,
the kid
great guy.
amazing. I think that's where Nolan Miller should be playing, though, right now. Honestly, I'm of the commitment, because we're in the World Cup break. I think any of the players that weren't really getting a lot of playing time towards the end of the season, let them go play an OCB game or two, right? Like, no offense, but if Iago wants to play an OCB game, go let him play an OCB game. Like, who cares? I mean, he's going to look like he's going to dwarf some of these kids, but if he wants playing time, give him some playing time before we get back, right? Because for those of you that don't know, MLSPA requires MLS players during this break to be off for 18 days. So they have to be off from 18 days starting the Sunday after the last weekend of games. So the clock would have started this past Sunday when the last game, or Monday, excuse me, when the games ended. And then they have to be off for 18 days to get rest and recoup and do all the things they're going to do. And then teams are allowed to continue with light training and work. And that's what Perlman was talking about when he was talking about press conferences and training.
And a lot of the players are they go visit family, they go to the beach and stuff.
We've seen some youth players get called up to some of the youth teams. So Otero, Caraballo got called up for some stuff with Venezuela. Ellis, Gusky. So there's a few guys out there. Judelson is another one. Judelson got called up. So, but anyway, on a tangent there.
No,
but
yeah. Nolan Miller's leadership also, I do want to say, I think he has great leadership qualities, and I agree with you. If they play him on LCB, and that Clovis, the center back, man, he's a tank. I love his attitude.
Yeah,
I just love the way he plays. He's had a huge future.
Yeah,
a huge future with Orlando City. 100%.
Chomsky's another one that people should be looking out for
Maroon as well has been doing pretty good.
Yeah, they just signed him to an OCB deal for 2 years. So you've got some center backs potentially of the future for Orlando City if these guys can really get there. Again, fan score. If anyone's got a score for Miller, let us know. All right, Luis, the controversial Adrian Marine.
Look, to me, he's been very consistent until maybe the last few games. But I think that's just because of the quality of the rivals. But I'm gonna give him a 7.
Okay, interesting. Wow.
I'm gonna give him a 7 because he's been. I mean, there's a difference between Adrian Marin of last year to this Adrian Marin, and I think he's. The Mexico pareja outing in Mexico and on the beach, it did good to him. Also, he's maintained himself very fit. Not a lot of injuries, not a lot of knocks. I think Perlman has used them almost every game, and the dude's delivered. And I think the goals will come. I'm sure he's going to probably catch 1 or 2 goals, hopefully. But
okay, interesting.
It's been one of the one of the brighter spots of the Orlando City defense.
Okay. I am not as optimistic on Adrian Marine, but I do think he is better than last season, which again was a very low bar to clear. But I do think he's better. I put him at a 5 personally. I think he started out tough again, but I think when he made the transition from left back to left center back, I think you saw a better version of Adrian Marine. The problem is, and this is why I can't give him a higher score, I think if you're playing a back 4, I don't know if he's a good left center back in a back 4. Like if you partner him with like Robin Janssen, I don't know that gets the job done, right? Or if you partner him with Brekalo, I don't know that you're getting the best out of him. So I have him as a 5. I also have him as one of the candidates that could see himself out the middle of the season, because I think he's been playing decent enough where some Spanish teams, maybe not in the first division, but maybe the second division, pick up the phone and say, hey, we see he's playing games now. We see he's fit. Any chance you'd be willing to transfer him our way, kind of thing?
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, it's good analysis. I just think he's been very if you look at all the people in our backline,
Sure. Yeah, no, for sure.
I think
For
him
sure.
and Dorsey have been, surprisingly very good at times. Obviously, otherwise it will have a 10. It'll be consistent,
Mhm.
right? But right now, obviously, he's getting paid a lot of money also on the salary for us, and
Mhm.
but right now, I think he's been one of those thick band-aids,
Mhm.
on a whole huge cut that we have that is pouring blood out all over. I think he's been one of the brighter spots. But again, if there is, again, that's up to the front office. If there's other teams that are interested in Adrian Marin, then maybe they want to trade, like, you know what I mean. Again, that's up to the club to decide.
Sure.
I wouldn't be opposed.
Yeah. All right. What about Ivancho?
Look,
And guys, I put him in the defender category because he's playing as a wing back this year. So just in case anybody wants to challenge me on that, I get it. I put him on defenders because he's playing as a wing back. So you can put him in defenders or midfielders if you want to, but I figured this was the best spot.
For Ivan Angulo, I'm gonna give him a 7.5.
Okay.
He is, even though he doesn't score,
Mm-hmm.
he owns that left side. There's
Mm-hmm.
no one who can take that away from him.
Mm-hmm.
He drives the ball forward. He generates plays. He assists. He's also a very vocal in the back. With the boys, right? With the young
Mm-hmm.
core that we have. He's an example. There's a lot of positives on Angulo right now. I think he's one thing that why he's not an 8 or a 9. It's because his lack of goals, right? And number two is also, we could do a little better, if we, I think he's excelling because a fire was lit on him when Pareja was there.
Mm-hmm.
He grabbed that torch and said, "No one's gonna take my position away from me." And again, we're gonna talk about Spicer and Thiago, but they haven't really performed to the level that he's taken the team at times in certain games. So that's why I'm 7.5. So with him.
Okay, I'm a little bit lower. I said 7, so we're pretty close.
Yeah.
And the only reason why is because I don't like his defensive play as much. I know he's had moments where he's broken up plays and made recoveries, but there's also times, if you guys go back and look at it, he gets beat, especially against a physical attacker. He gets beat. There's been some times where he gets fooled by some trickery, but again, he's not a defender by trade, so that's part of the problem. But again, for me, for a wing back, I expect that you need to have a little bit more defensive acumen. You need to have a little more defensive bite for what I'm looking for. And there are left wing backs in the world that are able to do both very well.
Yeah,
Obviously,
he should be. Yeah, but to counter what you say, he should be a winger.
Agreed.
Right, that's his
But
natural
the problem
position.
is his final product
Right.
isn't there in terms
Right,
of goals,
and so
right? Yeah.
they put him as a wing back because they're trying to. Okay, so I'm trying to make chicken salad out of chicken. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, right?
You're right.
So
you're right.
and it's working. So they're
Yeah.
they're riding the hype train for now.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think you need a real win back.
Because here's my example, and again, this is an extreme example, but think about Alphonso Davies, right? A
100%.
left wing back that can defend but also get forward. And listen, I'm not saying that like this team's gonna go out and get an Alphonso Davies, but like my point is that like one of the options that this team could make in the summer window is, what if instead of getting a left-sided attacker, like a prolific left-sided attacker, what if you get a very good left wing back and push Angulo up the field? What if that's your solution, right? Get him closer, get a coach in who will help him with his finishing maybe, and then push him forward upfield, and maybe he cooks with Griezmann and Tincho and we find a way to make it work, right? And then you get a left wing back who can defend but also get forward. It's just something to think about, right? It's an option there for you, potentially, of what that
Yeah,
looks
not only
like.
that, he bleeds purple. He wants to stay in Orlando. His family loves it here. He loves it here. He feels very emotionally attached to the team. I mean, that's per sources.
Yeah.
He feels like Orlando's been the only place that has truly valued him as a player, and I know that per a very very good source. He says to his friends, I whatever the club asks me to do, if they ask me to play goalkeeper, I'll play goalkeeper. It's just I'll kill for that team. So that's what he said to friends of his,
Yeah.
from per
My
sources.
only
So
my
I
only
just
big
think
beef with him
that
last year, Luis, was that he had some attitude issues last year. There's no doubt about it. We had a few
yeah,
moments last year where he stormed off the pitch and he did this, and that's why I was such a proponent in the offseason of being like, cut
something
bait, man. But like this year, he has seemed to come in with a different
he
mindset and
turned
a
it
different
around.
attitude. And with Oscar Pareja gone, that seems to have changed a little bit as well. And I think part of that is there's no more of Oscar's boys, right? There wasn't that group that Oscar really just depended on all the time. And I think some of those guys just felt like, well, hey, I'm not going to get yanked because I'm one of the guys. Now it's like we're under a new skipper, and like that's not a given, right? You got to go out there and ball. And so, listen, I'm all for Angulo having a turnaround season. I just want to see either his defense get a little bit better, or he needs to start putting balls in the back of the net. The assists are great, don't get me wrong, but I want to see some goals if he can add some goals. Because even Griffin Dorsey, his counterpart on the other side, is getting goals, right? So I'd like to see him get some goals as well if he can. All right, last one for the defensive category. Tahir Reed Brown, our good friend who visited the podcast.
I'm gonna give a 4.
Okay.
Another. I think he is a candidate so far to see if he could be a little versatile and maybe find him 2 positions. I think because of his size, I know that they've been trying with him center back, but sometimes center back doesn't work. Maybe he's a really great D mid. You know what I mean? But I think as a win back, he still has a long way to go, right? But he's definitely a talented player. I mean, I think again he's a guy who he's the future, hopefully, and I hope he gets more time, because the only thing he needs is time and minutes. And if he's not given the minutes, he's not able to show you what he can do.
He's
And
another
now,
guy. He's another guy, I think, in this break, Luis, that can use OCB to his advantage. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not getting playing time, and I know the first team's going to train and whatnot, but
right.
if OCB is going to have a home game, why not, like, say, hey, coach, let me play 60 minutes with OCB this weekend? And, like, give him the 60 minutes, right? Or if he wants to play a little bit more center back. He played center back in the Atlanta United 2 game a couple weeks ago. He did well as a left center back.
Yeah.
I thought he was good. But again, we're talking about different level of competition, so I get it. And then he played left back this past weekend when they played Inter Miami, and he, again, very good. He was very physical, the most physical I've seen Tahir this whole season. But he was very physical, and he actually bombed forward a few times, was able to get a cross or 2 in. So I'd like to see more of that from Tahir.
And that's another kid that really bleeds purple, man. I mean, a kid that feel that's the reason why he wants to ball out against Miami. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows how important it is for the fans. And again, he has a huge career ahead of him. I wish, though, he could have more minutes. Again, the Leagues Cup is there. And I think he should be having more minutes. If you want to see what he has, right?
Yeah.
If you don't give him the opportunity, he's gonna end up leaving, just like Thomas Williams and whatnot. So
yeah. So I had a 4.5 for him, Luis. I was a little bit higher on him, but basically around the same ballpark. I think there's more to come from Tahir for sure. Remember, give us your scores if you got any scores. Give us a heads up on that. Let's take a look at what John said for defense. So we'll take a look, and John said he had Griffin Dorsey at a 7, so you and John were in lockstep there. He also gave Zach Taifi, like I did, a 6. He had Robin Janssen at a 4.5. Brekalo, he gave a 3. He gave Iago a 6, which was the highest out of all of us.
Cool.
He gave Nolan Miller a 4.5. And then he gave Adrian Marine a 3.5. So he was very down on Adrian Marine, John was. So he's still Marine out, it looks like, at this point. And then Ivan Angulo, he gave a 5. He only gave Ivan Angulo a 5, which is tough
Probably
for
he
John.
doesn't
John
score.
might need to explain himself a little bit there, see what he's thinking. And then he gave Tahir Reed Brown a 5 as well. So best score for that. I see the comment from Nick0425 about Brekalo should be higher. He's still getting called into Slovenia. I mean, Slovenia doesn't have a lot of options in some of those positions. So I don't, and again, this is our opinion, and our opinion could be wrong, but our defense has been utterly bad this year. I think anyone can say that. We're on pace to set the MLS record for amount of goals conceded. So I get it. Good for him for getting called up to Slovenia. That's awesome for him. But I don't think that necessarily navigates him getting a better score. I still think he's low for a reason. I want to shout out Tom as well for aggregating the scores for us. That makes it much more helpful for me when I'm putting them in. All right, let's move to the midfield, Luis. And in the midfield, we're going to start with Brian Ojeda. And since I take the lead on this position group, for Brian Ojeda, I gave him a 5.5 is what I gave Brian Ojeda. And I'll say why. I think in the beginning, like a lot of people, he was tough. It was a little tough for him to get going and figure out the right mentality. But I think as the season has gone on, Brian Ojeda has shown us that he's a workhorse, man. He's going to go out there and he's going to give you the full 90 minutes. He's going to make some mistakes here and there, sure. But the guy runs all over the pitch. He tries to find ways to get involved. I think part of the reason that's drawing him back a little bit is that he just hasn't had the best partner. I think if he's been with a better partner, that's a different score for him. But I think he's been good, and I think he's honestly played himself in a position where he can be considered to start for Paraguay in the World Cup. And I think that's all he could ask for. I don't give him a 6 or a 6.5 or even, a 7, because I just don't think he's given us enough yet from that position. He's had flashes, no doubt, just not enough for me yet to really give him higher than a 5.5.
I disagree. I mean, I think he's one
Okay.
of the best players the team has. I think right now he's gassed. He was gassed in the last few games, but I mean, he's still playing over 120 minutes nonstop. I think he's also motivated because of Paraguay, right? But I think he's been a phenomenal acquisition, very surprising. Great acquisition from RSL. I think he handles the structural load very well. And anything that has been thrown out at him, he's competed. He has also given assists, right? And the goals are going to come. I'm going to give him an 8.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to give him an 8. Yeah,
that's your highest score yet, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of my highest scores.
Okay.
Right now.
Nice. And then we'll do it this way. We'll see what John said. John said a 6, so John's a little bit closer to me when it comes to Brian Ojeda, but that's okay. We can feel different about what Brian Ojeda is giving us. I think, Luis, I'll see what you're seeing with Brian Ojeda when he gets the right partner. I think the problem for me has been ever since Atuesta has been his partner, Brian Ojeda, I think, just ends up being lost sometimes. So I think if he gets the right partner in the second half, which if it's Perlman, I hope it's not, but if it's Perlman, Martin, please give him the right partner. New manager out there, who I hope it is, you should find a better partner for Brian Ojeda. But yeah, we'll see what it looks like in the second half, but I could totally understand that. All right, Edward Atuesta. This is going to be a controversial, I think, score for me. For me, he's a 3. He's not higher than a 3 for me. I think he has been... First, let's start with his availability, which has been bad to start the year. I know some of it might have been he got rushed back in certain circumstances or whatever that is, but he was hurt really to kind of start off the year. He's been hurt for a good chunk of time. But even when he's gotten on the field, Luis, he just hasn't shown it for me. I just don't see it. I think he's just mindless half of the time. I think he's not a good partner for Brian Ojeda. He doesn't make Brian Ojeda better. I think he makes him worse. The few times that we've seen Edward Atuesta be good is when this team presses, but really this team has not pressed a bunch with Edward Atuesta. I think the best moments he had this season were the ones that he had in Cincinnati where he pressed the first part of that game, right? I think that was some of his best moments that we've seen from him this season. But beyond that, I just can't give him more than that. I think he has not played up to his salary either. He's been injury prone, and I just don't think we're really getting the best ball out of Eder Atuesta.
Yeah, I mean, I was very excited when he first joined Orlando City. To be honest with you, I thought we were gonna get a repeat of the LAFC Atuesta. I don't think he's being utilized correctly, in my opinion. I think he's more of like especially for a 4-4-2, right below the strikers. I think he's more of a creative-minded player. He doesn't have a lot of goals, and that's another thing that counts against him. He misses a lot. He's missed one with an open goal, essentially, before. So, and again, his availability, a lot of things. I was going to give him a 3.5.
Okay.
But I'm kind of there with you. I think he's been, and not only that, I mean, the front office to extend them till 2029, bro. So AI is gonna rule the world, and Eder Atuesta is gonna still be playing for Orlando City.
That's tough.
To me, that's tough. Why?
Yeah.
Like, I can go and become the scout for Orlando City and find you, with all due respect, 3 better players for cheaper. I can go to Peru, I can go to Ecuador, I can go to Bolivia, bro. Like, I really don't know. Or you get the coach who's gonna maximize Atuesta, and right now I feel like Atuesta, he's not a player that defends. He's a player that goes forward. He's better suited to maybe link up with Tincho right in the middle than link up with Brian Ojeda, because I agree there with your assessment. He kind of Brian Ojeda becomes so overwhelmed, he has to defend,
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the partner for Ojeda, Brian, it's a true D mid, a true D mid. It could be like here Ruben is saying Casemiro, Fabinho, Wilder Cartagena if he was healthy, like somebody there with a double pivot. If you try to put somebody that's creative like Brian, like Eder Atuesta, and kind of does the nutmegs and the back heel passes and the flary stuff doesn't go for D mid, because you gotta be a dog when you're in the D mid. So that's why for me it's a 3.5. I hope he improves. Hope he proves me wrong. Hope he improves. He's definitely a great player. He's just not shown the best quality so far this midseason.
That's fair. All right, we'll turn our attention to another new U22 Brazilian, Luis Otavio. I have Otavio at 5.5 is what I put on mine.
Oh, no, you put it on my side.
Oh, whoops. Apologies. Let me fix that. I have him as a 5.5. And this is the reason why. I think the games that we have had an opportunity to see Luis Otavio, I think we have seen some flashes of vintage Cesar Araujo. We've seen flashes of, I'm going to pull one out of the bag here, Christian Higuita, for those of you that have been around for a while. Those are kind of the things that we're looking for. It's just, again, he hasn't been given enough time to like go and do those things. And so I think one of the things that swayed me today, and I know Adriana is going to probably make a comment about it, but his marketing firm put out like a best of kind of highlights of him this season. In the games where he was given an opportunity, like the DC United game, he was all over the field for Orlando City. For the Naples game, he was all over the pitch for Orlando City. Those are the games I would expect him to be involved and get involved and all those kind of things. And I want to see more for Luis Otavio. I think he's a better partner for Brian Ojeda as well. So I think he makes it work better in that as well. And I think that's probably why I score him where I score him. But I think there's more to come. Just like we talked about with Iago, I think there's more to come from Luis Otavio.
Yeah, I was gonna give him a 6. I just think he's again the future. I think he should be groomed to take that spot next to Brian Ojeda. I think Brian Ojeda and him looked pretty solid, and they had something going. Again, it was stopped and then Atuesta was put in, right? So you don't stop the hot hand, in my opinion. It's just my humble opinion. So I'm gonna give him a 6. I think he has a huge ceiling. Hopefully, we see him more in the second half of the season in the starting lineup. I would like to see him in the starting lineup.
And John agrees with you, Luis. He also has Luis Otavio at a 6, which is hilarious because I'm the one who bangs the drum the most for Luis Otavio, and I had him a little bit lower.
Yeah, no, but I agree with your sentiment. He's had some flashes of Cesar Araujo. You have to understand, Cesar Araujo played in a smaller club in Uruguay, but as a starter, he had like a thought over. I mean, he was a starter, a lot of minutes. Now, Otavio has had 1,000, 1,500. Not as much coming off the bench playing 30, 35.
He had 870 with Internacional.
So it's not really, I mean, a lot, but it's a tremendous talented player. I think he's shown that.
And he's so young, right? He has so much time to be able to.
He was thrown to the fire as well, right? And so
413 minutes for Luis Otavio this season, by the way, for Orlando City. So
not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Colin Gusky, the homegrown, another player that bleeds purple. I have Gusky at a 5. I think he's like right middle of the road. I think he's been good-ish when we've asked him for his assistance this year. I'd like to see more out of Colin Gusky. I think there's more to give there. So that's kind of like my one thing. I think he's played much better ball for OCB than he has for Orlando City so far, but I think there's talent there for Colin Gusky. I think there's opportunities as well for him to get into games. The only issue I have is that if Wilder Cartagena gets healthy, what is the role for Colin Gusky on this team, right? And again, I might be going off of, a lot of speculation here because Wilder Cartagena has not been that healthy this year. But I think with Wilder Cartagena being healthy, I just don't know what Colin Gusky's role is for this squad.
I agree with you. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. He's a guy who, again, we should be seeing more. But I don't think we've seen enough. I mean, in the few glimpses we've seen, he's done good. I mean, his attitude, he was physical, in the first few games for Orlando City. So I'm gonna give him a 4.
Okay.
That was my rating.
Okay.
But with the hopes that we see him more, hopefully in the Leagues Cup, hopefully he's able to show us what he has.
And just so that you know, in terms of minutes played, he's 284 minutes for Colin Gusky with the main team. So a little low there. John had him at a 5.5, so he had the most optimistic score on Colin Gusky. So that kind of makes sense. All right, we're gonna have to talk about your fellow countryman here, Luis, Wilder Cartagena. I'll go ahead and start from the rip. I give Cartagena 3.5, and I know that's going to be tough for some people, but Cartagena's had a tough season, right? We were very optimistic going into the season about what Wilder Cartagena could do for this team. I heard at least reports out of preseason that Wilder Cartagena was having a heck of a preseason. When he came in off of his injury, he was looking good. He was looking fit. Allegedly, according to what I heard, he was playing a little bit of center back as well for the team, as well as some defensive midfield. So I was really high on Wilder Cartagena. And then we see him go out in the first game of the season, right? And he was on the shelf for a while since then, right? And since then, we haven't really seen that many good games out of Wilder Cartagena yet. I think maybe you've had one game-ish that he's come into where you felt good about Wilder Cartagena coming in. But I think we're just playing too much on nostalgia for Wilder at this point. And I think we might need to start having the tough conversation about what Wilder Cartagena is for this team.
Yeah, I mean, there are rumors of the brewing in Peru about him going to Alianza Lima. I mean, they're always going to brew because Alianza Lima is his boyhood club. Now, per sources, I know that is false. So I could tell you that that's not true. I can tell you he wants to stay in Orlando. He feels he is going to have a better second half of the season. Um, I don't know if it will be enough for the club to keep him. Again, that's not my decision. That's a club's decision.
Mm-hmm.
He's a phenomenal human being, phenomenal player. But I agree with you. I think I give him a 3.
Okay.
And reason being is because, number one, we haven't seen a lot from him. And the few times that we've seen him, I think the last game he came with a lot of energy. It kind of reminded me when he was kind of dropping back, kind of like a quasi left wing back, kind of center back type of role.
Mm-hmm.
He started kind of getting into that Wilder kind of mode. But there's times when he goes 1v1, he's afraid of the contact, and that's normal.
Sure.
I'm not discrediting him. That's just mental because I mean he just came back from 2 back-to-back injuries,
Yeah.
and
Serious
and
ones at
and
that.
that
Yeah.
messes you up mentally.
Absolutely.
So I'm
Absolutely.
sure that the club psychologist is probably having a lot of talks with him and things like that to make sure that he's mentally fit. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
tough to come back from that.
And Luis,
So
I'll say this. I want nothing more, and I'm sure you feel the same way, for Wilder Cartagena to have a heck of a bounce back in the second half.
I
A
hope,
healthy Wilder Cartagena would change this team
I hope,
big time,
100%,
right? Because
100%.
again, if Janssen continues, let's assume that Janssen continues to lose half a step or a step over the season. If Wilder Cartagena can come back after the World Cup break and look like a man possessed and look like a man that's different and plays different and acts different, that's the sort of defensive solidity and organization that we'd be looking for, right? I mean, that's exactly what this midfield would need. And I could see a very good partnership with Wilder Cartagena and Brian Ojeda, and then Otavio coming in to spell Wilder, right? Or, Atuesta coming in to spell Brian Ojeda, though I don't think Atuesta would be on this team with how much they're paying him. But you get my point of like, if Wilder can get to that point where we need him to be, I think this team looks different the back half of the season.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. Another thing that affected him, I know he will never agree with what I'm saying, but I know I've heard from rumors that it's Pedro leaving affected him tremendously. If he would have if he would have had the second injury with Pedro there here at the club, I think we would have maybe seen a little bit more of that bite. He's a little bit a loner right now. Uh,
Mm,
because obviously the wives talk to each other, the kids see each other, so it can't, it affected the everyday, right? He kind of had a comrade next to him, somebody he can kind of
sure.
shoot to, and then they'll understand his jokes, and you know what I mean. And so, look, I wish him the best. I think he's a tremendous player. It's just right now the club, I think, is doing good for him to seeing the progression, but being smaller minutes, and
Mm,
as maybe in this break,
mm,
when he works his ass off, he goes back and we see him maybe doing a great duo with Brian Ojeda, and we got a double pivot back. You know what I mean?
could
Which
be.
will
Yeah.
be which will be fantastic. So
All right. John had him at a 3.5, so he
okay,
aligned with
that's
me,
not
but
bad.
not too far off. All right. Last but not least, the man that has gotten not a ton of minutes for Orlando City, but has gotten some minutes, Ignacio Nacho Gomez. I'll let you start with this one, Luis, because I'm curious to see where you're at with this.
I'm gonna give him a 4. I
Okay.
mean, he has a huge future, 100%. I'm sure he probably will be signed for next season. And that's what it looks like. But again, we haven't really seen a lot, and I think the few things that we saw, it reminded us, a lot of people were saying, oh, it reminds me of Ramiro Enrique, oh, it reminds me of Facu. I just think the comparisons sometimes are a little far-fetched, but he's a kid with a lot of future. But we haven't seen him enough. I feel like in OCV he's killing it for sure. He's just
Sure.
scored. He needs to continue that ride. I think next year he's definitely going to be part of the first team.
Can I tell you what a better comp I think for him is that I think some fans are missing? Junior Urso is the comp that you should be
Yeah.
making for somebody like Nacho Gomez. Look at the way he controls the ball. Look at the way that he's willing to
Good
shoot,
call.
the way he's willing to assist, the way he's willing. I think he could be to this team a very quality box to box midfielder if he's able to put it together. He's young. I think he's 18 years old, 19 years old.
Yeah.
He's a young kid, right? But like you said, his time with OCB and then the short amount of impact he's had with us, because don't forget, Luis, he scored a goal for us when he came on for Orlando City. So I think it's something to consider. I gave him a 6 because of, in the short amount of time that he has been here, he has made a goal contribution. He's contributed where we needed him to contribute. I know it was more of like a garbage time goal, maybe you want to call it, but he still contributed in a way and found a way.
Yeah, I just think, I would like to see him. I would like to see what he's doing at OCB. And I want him to thrive at OCB, but because I know for a fact next year, like Jeremy's saying, needs more time, but super excited to see what's in store. 100%. I feel exactly the same as Jeremy.
And I would say, guys, like, watch OCB, because like Nacho Gomez on OCB has been quality so far. I was one of those people banging the drum, being like, why is this guy not on the field? It turns out he was nursing a knock, and so OCB wasn't playing in the beginning, but ever since he got healthy, he has been quality and then some. John gave him a 5, so John hit it right in the middle between us. He gave him a 5. So look at that, perfect, right down the middle. All right, Luis, let's talk about the attack, something that I think people can agree that this team has been okay with so far this season. We'll start with the Croatian, Marko Pasalic.
Oh, man. I don't think his left foot has been his weapon for Orlando City in this half season. And I'm a little sad to say. But I think he's, in the first few games, he was one of the brighter spots next to Dincho. I give him a 6. That was my rating for him. Now, I think he will be like a 6.52 if you add him. I really disagree of him doing the post presser after the disaster that happened in Cincinnati. I really don't know why they did that, with all due respect. But the professional, he was in the last 2 results for Orlando City, I believe, in the post game pressers, and he was in the draw against Atlanta, and then he was in the 6-2 loss. Okay, professional. He literally took the heat.
Yeah,
and that I take that as leadership. As a player that is taking the hits for his teammates, right? And good for him. But I hope if he stays within the team, if because guys, Pasalic could have a monstrous World Cup. He could be the starter winger for Croatia, and he could ball out. And if he does, more than likely, we will see him in a different team, and Orlando's going to make some money, right? More than likely. If he stays, though, he needs to be the Marko Pasalic of last year.
Yeah.
Because that's going to make Griezmann's job easier. That's going to make Tincho's job much easier. And it's going to cause a lot of competition. I think the ones that will suffer with Marko Pasalic being so great are the people who play the wing. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I wish I could see him playing a little better next in the upcoming half the season.
Yeah, that's fair. I have him at a 5.5, Luis, so I'm a little bit lower on him than you, but same reasons, right? I don't think I need to rehash that. I think this has been a disappointing start for Pasalic this season. Obviously, the goal was to get to the World Cup healthy, and it looks like he's done that. So goal achieved. He's made the roster. Goal achieved there. I'm still under the impression, I don't even think he needs to ball out at the World Cup. I think if he starts a few games, he looks decent, the offers will come in. I think what'll make the difference is how much we get for him, depending on his play at the World Cup. We know some German teams have been sniffing around already.
Do you remember?
What's that?
How much did we pay?
It was like 5.5, 6 million, something like that, I think it was.
I mean, look, if he scores 2 goals, 1 assist, I'll say 8 million. That's the least.
I think honestly, if German teams start bidding for him, it's 10 million easy. It just
100%.
depends on who comes out and does that. He's been linked to Italy as well, a little bit as well. So there's a couple things there, but I think, listen, I know people are going to be upset that Pasalic is going. I think there's a bright spot to this, and that is it opens up a DP spot, number one. But secondly, I realistically don't know where Pasalic fits on this team when Antoine Griezmann comes in. I just don't. I've been racking my brain. I'm working on an article right now, guys, in case you didn't know, of like trying to break down certain players' performances. And one of the sections of that article is going to be, how do we fit this all together? Like, how does Griezmann work? It's tough, man.
I could tell you, switch him to the left side.
But again, that requires a different type of play that he hasn't played in most of his career.
I mean, he plays with his left foot. So technically,
I hear you. I hear you. It's just for some players, it's tough to make that switch.
I agree with you, but I think if let's say he stays, you move him to the left.
Yeah,
you're gonna create competition between Pasalic, Angulo, and now Spicer. So it automatically boosts your left side. Now, obviously, Pasalic cannot have the season he's had in the first of the year, but if he stays, just having somebody like Griezmann in the locker room is just going to change his mentality. He's want to be fair. As influential as Antoine. Antoine's going to play on the right. Tincho's going to play at the 10. Pasalic on the left. And then here's the question. Who's going to poach it in? Who's going to be our 9?
I don't think they're on this roster, Luis.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll turn to John. John gave him a 5. John was the harshest on Pasalic out of all of us.
I mean,
he gave him a 5. So, all right, let's move to the wonder kid, Justin Ellis.
Look, proud of you, man. Proud of you. I always knew it, bro. I'm gonna give him a straight up look for the age, the swag, the post pressers, the interviews, how he's been carrying the team offensively, the assists, the passes, the age, just being called out to the under 20s. He's to me, aside of Tincho, he's been a step above. I think I'm gonna give him a 9.
Wow. Okay. A 9.
I'm gonna rate him very high.
Okay. I don't have him that high. I have him as a 7. And the reason for that is I need to see more goal contributions from Justin Ellis. The passing is great. The control is great. The hold-up play is great. I need to see more goal contributions from Justin Ellis. That's what he's on the field for. He's there to contribute to goals, and I don't think we've gotten enough out of him this year in order to say that he is solidly, for me, above a 7 at this point. I'm not saying he can't get there, but I think right now, and here's the other concern that I have, Luis, with Griezmann coming in and the potential of other attackers coming in as well, we'll see what happens. Does Justin Ellis have a starting spot on this squad? Because I don't know if he fits in anywhere, especially if Pasalic doesn't go. Like, where does he fit?
If Pasalic doesn't go, he'll be our second striker. If I was a coach. So I will play a different system with either two 9s, one playing below the pivot, right? And that will be Justin Ellis. That'll be me. But if let's say you're playing a 4-2-3-1, Ellis will be, to me, the second striker. So if I get, and again I'm shooting the S. Let's say we get Memphis Depay. Obviously, Memphis Depay is going to be my number 1 striker, right? Clearly. I mean, no disrespect to Justin Ellis, right? But he's going to look at the locker room. He's going to be around Griezmann. He's going to be around Depay. When Depay needs minutes to cool down and Orlando's winning 2-0, 3-0, Justin is going to come with a bunch of energy. I mean, he has the attitude. I think eventually, and not only that, he's very versatile. He could probably play the wing. You know, again, injuries, load management, tournaments. I think there is a position in the roster for Justin Ellis. Eventually, though, I think his expectation, I'm sure, is to be a starter. And he's even said it, I work better when I start, right? Now we'll see what happens, but I mean, I'll put him as a second. I mean, right now, without a shadow of a doubt, and I'm going to get
Yeah.
to Duncan in a little bit. Who's been more productive, Duncan or Justin Ellis?
They're not on this roster. And I'm gonna give you a hot take right now, and people aren't gonna like this. Justin Ellis will not be on this team by the sprint season. Period. I'm dropping that mic right there. I'm calling right now that he is gonna have a decent. I think he's already put together a decent enough season, but with the rest of the season that he has in front of him, with Leagues Cup coming up as well, with the fact that we're still in the Open Cup and we have those matches, Justin Ellis is gonna play so well that he's going to get the European calls he was waiting for when he was with OCB, and he's going to leave. And I think that's why.
Well, we need a sign so we get some money out of it.
Well, that's why, though. I think this club might go out and get a prolific attacker in the expectation that they know Ellis is going to leave. I think that's honestly how it's going to shape out. And then Ellis will get minutes here and there. He'll find ways to get minutes. But I think that's kind of the mindset of what this is going to happen. This is going to be a Freeman situation where they're going to get an offer that's just too hard to refuse, and you got to take it at that point.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, he's just for the national team alone. I mean, I know a lot of people are club first, national team second. To me, I'm national team first, club second. I've always been this way, even with Peru and stuff like that. For the betterment of soccer in the United States, yes, it'll be better if Justin Ellis is in a different league. 100%.
Yeah.
And if it happens, dude, he gave everything for the badge. I mean, and like you said, you make a great assessment. He's gonna have minutes. He's gonna have more minutes. I don't think it's not the end, but he has a huge ceiling on him. So hopefully.
All right, let's move above the border. Let's go Tyrese Spicer. How do we feel about Tyrese Spicer?
I'm gonna do a 6.5.
Okay.
I mean, he's is a trade that has paid massively for Orlando. I'm gonna give him that. Mm-hmm. One of the best trades we've made, 100%. Now, obviously, his highlight is a 93rd minute winner against Miami. I think he's etched in history on there. 100%. Agreed. Especially with this. We just need to see the consistency of him being a high impact weapon, because right now he is a high impact weapon.
Off the bench. I agree.
He comes off the bench minute 65. He's a high impact weapon. And we need to see that consistency. And I think that we have not been seeing that the past few games, and as well as the results. So he's ending his mid-season. He started high, but it ends on that meh.
Yeah.
Now, can he improve? 120%. Is he a good signing? 120%. But we need to see him being the high impact weapon. That's his role.
Okay. I have him as a 6, so a little bit below you.
Okay.
Again, I think for all the things that you said, I think is exactly how to describe what Spicer has been able to give for us. I think he is the perfect model of a super sub who, when you need him to come on and change some things for you, he's able to do that. And I think that's really what his role should be going forward. And again, you need a guy like that off the bench, right? That you can look to and say, hey, let me go do that. John was a little higher. He gave him a 7. So he gave Tyrese Spicer a 7.
I think he thinks he's Kevin Molino.
Yeah, he was really.
I'm just messing with him. No,
he was really up on.
Love you, bro.
Yeah. All right, it's time to talk about, does Orlando really run on Duncan, Luis?
Well, I do want to say something. According to my iPad, there you go. Now, clearly right now we're Team Starbucks, bro. I mean, clearly right now. I mean, it's tough there, man. I mean, look, he is one of the highest. I mean, people in the fan base, we're getting mad at that Galenza was making a fucking $1 million, with all the respect. Like, and 1.2 million, and this guy's making what, 1.1, and we're not seeing it. I think he's gone through a scoring drought. Also, he came from injury, so you got to give him that. I was going to give him a 4.5, and that's
Okay.
just being nice. He's had a couple of goals, he had a backflip again, but I just don't. I mean, he's rotated a lot, and he's one of the highest paid. He's supposed to make an impact.
Mhm.
He's supposed to make an impact right there, either off the bench or either as a starter. And I just feel like before it will be okay, but Duncan contributes on the back and forth, on recouping the ball, into playing aggressively. But right now, that aggressiveness is really not as much there, unless it's that push that he did to that. I don't know if it was that Nashville player or whatever that went flying when he went on the
Oh
tackle.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So aside of that, he's been very inconsistent. He's not that explosive Duncan. Does he need a change of atmosphere? Maybe a better system, maybe a different coach, maybe a place like Real Salt Lake, maybe going out west, Colorado, you know, um, Dallas, Austin. That they need a striker deeply. Maybe. I just don't. I just don't. I hope he has a better second half of the season, but it's been inconsistent for the Howland of the Heartland, unfortunately.
I agree with you, Luis. For everything you just said, 4.5 for me. I don't see it from him this season.
Yeah.
I'm one of the people at this point that thinks it's time to that maybe we move on. That maybe this is a transfer within the league. Maybe it's a transfer outside of the league. You get what you can for him at this point, but paying him $1 million just is not it for this team. And I hate to say it and I hate to see it, but he just doesn't have it for me. And we can spend our money in other ways, honestly. So John gave him a 4, so John was the most
Well,
down on him than
he
we
can go
were.
to
So
Stoke, John. He can go to Stoke. It, they will not
um,
forget to press send on the email. I can
yeah.
guarantee you that.
Um, Tiago. Let's talk about the last U22. What do you feel about Tiago?
I feel again he's being not underutilized, but he's not being put in positions for him to succeed.
Mm.
And he's a phenomenal talent. He killed it in Bahia. He was
Mm-hmm.
targeted. People in Bahia were like, "Why are you not going to Europe?" They were apparently, European teams seeking him. There were also Argentinian teams seeking him, and a lot of top clubs in CONMEBOL. He
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to come to the MLS, and he comes from a family that he's the head of the household, right? And he needs. I mean, there's a acquisitive power here in the MLS. When it comes to dollar signs, and that
Mm-hmm.
is very attractive. But by somebody that comes from poverty, right? And especially being a new dad and everything. So you want to make the most money to have your daughter, your son, not have any go through the situations that you've been through, right?
Sure.
Now I think these all these changes, him being thrown in the fire, playing striker, then playing winger, then at some point also see him as a wing back, then at some point roaming around helping Brian Ojeda because the Tuesta was somewhere else. Um, it's just overwhelming for a player that his whole career has been just you're a winger, play direct, play vertical, dribble, 1v1.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been tough. I was gonna give him a 5, and because he's had some goals, he's had some contributions. He had that the brace, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to see him more where he works. And where he works is as a winger on the left side and part of the attack. Now, it could get better if we have a different manager, maybe. I don't know. For him, somebody is able to maximize. He's not a bad player. He's not been a bad signing, in my opinion. I mean, it was a no-brainer to sign him.
I think for me, I gave him a 6. I think for me, I think he's been the brightest U22 that we've seen this season.
Yeah.
I think all you have to do is go to the Cincy game, right, where he earns that penalty against Kyle Smith. His pressing is elite, and this team is not using his pressing at all, which is mind-boggling to me. His pressing is really good. His finishing, of course, in certain moments has been tough, but then just don't go any farther than the Atlanta game, right, where eventually he did turn it on and he got a brace on the day. This kid can finish. This kid, when he plays direct, can beat somebody. He can shoot. He can lay the ball off if he needs to. He just needs more time. He needs trust from Perlman to do it, and he needs positional accuracy. Like, which position am I going to play? Is it left wing? Is it striker? Is it wing back? I think he is a prototypical left winger who can play direct. Let him play as a prototypical left winger who can play direct. Don't put him in a wing back role. Don't put him as striker. Let him go out to the left-hand side and just attack. And also, if for some reason this club goes out and gets a prolific left-sided attacker, right? Thiago is a dangerous piece to pull off of the bench and sick on a team when you're looking for an extra goal, right? So he's got that in him for right now, if you want to do that as well. So I'm a little higher on Thiago, and I think he, again, another player that's got a lot to give if he's given the opportunity. And then let's see, John gave him a 7.5. Wow, John's really high on Thiago.
Well, he can definitely also play in Stoke.
What's Stoke going to give us? Like 15 million, 20 million? What are we talking about here?
Come on, right. John. He's taking while he's hot.
Let's talk about the big man himself, Martin Ojeda, Tincho.
Look, man. Where will we be without Tincho?
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a 9.
A 9 for Tincho.
9 for Tincho because without no Tincho, no party. Literally. And it's been tougher. It's been a tougher season for Tincho because look at all he has to do. He has to be a psychologist in the locker room with the South Americans and even the Brazilians. Mm-hmm. He has to be a quasi mentor to Justin Ellis, too. Mm-hmm. Then he has to be the DP, MLS All-Star. Make sure you vote for Tincho for the All-Star. Then he has to score goals because he has a metric.
He had to be a captain for some time when Janssen was out.
He has to be a captain. Then he has to be a dad back home. Do homework. His kid just graduated. Congratulations. Felicidades. So Tincho has a huge backpack full of rocks, and physically he's, suffered a little bit. It's not been the same consistent Tincho of scoring almost every game last season. He's had a little bit of a tougher time, but he's still delivered. I mean, based on everybody else's individual acumen this season, he's delivered with all of that. Pareja leaving, Galese leaving his friends, all his friends leaving. All the guys who left were huge friends of Tincho. They literally hugged Tincho to become part of the group, and that's why he decided to stay in Orlando for a long time. So with all that, he's still performing at a high level. Definitely our best player. That's why I'm going to give him a 9. So
I'm giving him an 8.5. So I'm a little bit below you, and here's why. My big thing for Tincho is there's been games where he's wasteful. And I think that's 100%. One of the things. Yeah. And again, I think that's one thing last season that he was so good at was not being wasteful. And honestly, the other thing too, Luis, that I don't love, he doesn't have any assists on the season at all. 0. He's got 0. And I get it. He's the main goal scorer and all that. And I understand that. But he's still got to be able to provide for his teammates. And so the true Tincho is the Tincho we saw last season, right? The MVP caliber Tincho that we got last year. I still don't think he's back to that level yet.
I agree.
But I think with Antoine Griezmann, he could be. And I think that should scare people because Antoine Griezmann's going to come in and put in a great half season. Tincho with Antoine Griezmann next to him and potentially somebody else could be honestly the MVP of this season if he helps Orlando City get to the playoffs and we win an Open Cup and we compete in the Leagues Cup. Tincho has to be an MVP candidate.
Look, not to give the front office any more, not to upset anybody, but technically, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of pundits, a lot of friends of mine too, they always tell me, Luis, the season starts in the second half, man. Literally, the MLS season starts in the second half. Nobody cares about the first half, right? Now, I don't agree. Sure. Because I believe in momentum. And right now, Orlando is not with a lot of momentum. But I completely agree with you. I mean, if you maximize what Tincho and with even Thiago play just their roles, not double dip on other roles, defend, run back, get the ball, be a motivator. You just give him one job. He's going to excel at it. I mean, he showed it last season. I think with Griezmann coming in and hopefully the signings that the front office is going to make, I'm hoping, that could make Tincho hopefully perform at the level that you say. And I think he has it in him. So hopefully.
And John agreed with me. He gave him an 8.5. So we're all basically around the same number.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
All right, the next two are interesting, Luis, and I'll give you the option. So Harvey Sajaran and Pedro Leal have gotten first-team minutes. But I'm going to give you the option here. Would you prefer not to rank them because they don't have enough time? Or would you prefer to rank them with their OCB time?
Well, we should rank them with their OCB time.
Okay,
and we should say shame on shame on not putting them in, right? I mean, you need spark. You go see OCB. You have that lead, there are ways for them to play at least one or two games. I mean, that doesn't say that they play, games back to back with the first team. But what I'm trying to say is like these are
my biggest one, Luis. Harvey Sajaran should have played in Naples. He should have played in Naples. Why did he not play in Naples?
I don't know. And look, his whole family was there.
Imagine if he balled, Luis. Imagine if he got a goal or an assist or whatever it was.
Exactly. But I don't. Again, Perlman makes the decisions. Is coaching something. We're nobodies. But what I'm trying to say is like you gotta read the room, bro, or at least like use the media that's been there for years covering the club. Not as just be like, hey, Luis, is it true that Naples, he's from Naples? Yes, sir. Oh, even you know what I mean? Like you could exploit that. They could have sold that like cheese on a cheese with with mice and everything, right?
Sure.
They could have, I just again I don't know why. Look, based on OCB numbers, Harvey Sarajan, to me, it's an 8. Because he's had a goal contribution almost every game.
Every game he's played.
Every
he's
game.
Had a goal contribution. Yeah.
So he's probably one of the best players at OCB. Now,
and I'm glad you said 8 because I agree. I'm right at an 8 as well, so I'll put that in while I can. You know how much I've been banging the drum for Harvey Sajaran.
I think we all will have. Yeah.
And so I think it's one of those things where again you just don't understand why he's not getting first team time. John gave him an 8.5 for his OCB grade, so I'm with him there. I think. What about Pedro Leal? I know you like Pedro Leal a lot, so
I want to see him again. If we are not going to get a prolific 9, and we're going to put Thiago again as a 9, we're going to put Griezmann as a 9. We're going to put, you know what I mean? Which I hope that's not the case. Pedro Leal is going to see some minutes. He's a player that was highly regarded in Brazil. A lot of people criticized his move to Orlando City because not only that, they found out he wasn't even the first team. It was the B team. So for a Brazilian, he's like, what are you doing? Right? He's very young, very talented. I'm gonna give him a 6.
Okay.
That's OCB numbers only,
Okay.
and obviously he's not had a lot of goals. I think he's had a few, but he's got also assists for OCB. But this is another
I
player. This is
yeah.
another player. This is another player. For example, like what you say, David. Let's say we signed a prolific striker. Let's say,
Mhm.
for example, Justin Ellis leaves, right? Um, and goes to Europe. Pedro Leal can certainly be a second striker on a first team. And at OCB, you can promote that kid Carson that's balling with the academy.
Oh, Stargate, yeah, or Starjet, or whatever his name is,
Yeah,
yeah.
you just put him in there. He even did a dance. He did with the barbecue sauce and all that stuff. So like it is a continue. So it's kind of like what the Sounders do. You know what I mean? Like you don't
Yeah,
see them. They trust their Tacoma Defiance guys.
sure.
So here, if Ellis, let's say, goes because he's super talented, he goes to Europe. There's going to be
Mhm.
an opportunity for a second striker or even third striker on the striker corps. I
Mhm.
will sign Pedro Leal, 100%.
Okay. I'm going with a 7, so I'm a little bit higher on Pedro
Okay,
Leal
that's fine.
than you are, but I think we're pretty close. And the reason why is I think I've just been able to watch more OCB games than a lot of people have, so I've seen this kid a lot. This kid's off the ball movement, and as well as like for his size, like what he's able to do when he gets the ball is crazy. And you see why he scored so many goals with Flamengo's U20 team. I mean,
100%.
he moves off the ball so silky smooth. Defenders just lose him. They don't know where he goes. He slips in between lines. He's very good at like, making misdirections and doing different things. Guys, I'm telling you right now, Pedro Leal will be on this team at least midway through next season. Like the full season, not the sprint season. I would be shocked if he's not with this team. A little surprised. I won't say shocked. A little surprised if he's not with the team during the sprint season. He's got that level of ability. Now, what I want to see him do more with OCB is I want to see him get more goal contributions. I think he needs to be more consistent with OCB than what he's been. But considering all the pieces around him have changed week in and week out, because this guy plays with different wingers every single flipping game, he still finds a way to contribute. And I think so far his best partnership has been when he plays two up top, and that's him and Harvey Sajarin. Because him and Harvey Sajarin, when they play together, are a duo that you do not want to come up against. So something to definitely consider there. Let's see what John had for him. John had 8. He had Pedro Leal at an 8. So John, high on both of those young guys as we go through it. All right, that's all the players, Luis. So real quick, we'll rapid fire this off. We're going to rank the position groups real quick. Goalkeeper, defense, midfield, attacker group. Luis, goalkeeper core, real quick, 1 through 10. What are you thinking?
5.5.
5.5. Okay. I had the goalkeeper group at a 4.5, so I was a little bit lower there. Defense, what do you think?
3.5.
3.5 for Luis. I have him at a 3, so I'm a little bit lower on the defense. Midfielder group, what do you got?
4.
4. I have a 4 as well, so I'm glad we agree on that. And then attacker. What do you have for the attacking group?
Man, I give it a 7.
7. Okay, I have it a 6. It's a little bit lower there. I'll revere John's. Any specific comments you want to make about your position group, or do you think we've kind of talked about it as we've gone through here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it. It looked very similar to. We all got 4 in the midfield.
That's funny.
I mean, that's a hint for the front office if you're watching, guys.
Yeah, for real. Look at that 3. Look at that 4. I'm just saying. Those are things you can look at. So, all right. Well, while Tom gets some votes from some fans here, let's go to superlatives. So there's a couple of superlatives we're going to talk about. The first superlative, Luis, who's your best player on the season so far?
So far, with all the inconsistencies, to me, it's gonna be Tincho.
Tincho. I agree. I don't know how you can look farther than Tincho. I think it has to be Tincho. The guy is just class throughout. Without Tincho, like you said, we're in the basement, man. Like we're Philadelphia, bad.
Yeah, we're
So Okay. Not that we want to dog on anybody, but who's your worst player, Luis, on the season so far?
To me, it's gonna be. Um, to me, it's gonna be Atuesta.
Atuesta. And guess what, my friend? I also said Atuesta. Real quick before we jump forward, let's see what John had. John had Ojeda as his number one. As his as well.
So, John.
No surprise there, right? From anyone. Best new player for you, Luis. And this could be a young guy who came up this year or somebody we brought in.
I mean, I'm best new player. I mean, I'm between Brian Ojeda and Justin Ellis, but I'm gonna go for Brian Ojeda.
Brian Ojeda, okay.
Because of the load that he had to carry.
Okay,
I mean,
that's fair.
I mean, if you see the games, I mean, he's everywhere.
I put for best new player Griffin Dorsey because I think Dorsey has changed sort of the way that we've played, and also he's replaced some of that offensive sort of production, with everything that's been going on. So yeah, I think Griffin Dorsey is a good shout. John went with Justin Ellis, so John was all about.
I mean, it's either him or
yeah. What's your worst new player, Luis? So out of everyone that we brought in, who are you not high on?
Who did we brought in? I mean, right now, I mean, worst new player. That's a big thing. I mean, does it go for OCB guys too, or no?
Yeah, I mean, they came up this year. If they came up this year, then yeah, they can be.
Oh, man. It's tough because, you don't want to maybe because we haven't seen enough of him and we don't know, maybe Nolan Miller,
Okay.
And it's not because he's a bad player. It's just we haven't seen enough of him. He has had barely any minutes.
I went with Maxime Crépeau, and some people aren't gonna like that, but
okay,
I think
that's.
I think in the grand scheme of things, he's been average. I think he can do better. Will he do better for us? I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, just not enough for me from Crépeau. And John also went with Maxime Crépeau, so that makes some sense there.
Yeah.
And then best game of the season. What was the best game of the season for you, Luis?
Well, clearly this game was going to be talked about forever and ever. So the 4-3 against Miami.
4-3 against Miami. Yeah, I think that's a hard one to ignore on the season, right?
Yeah.
I am also going with the 4-3 over Inter Miami. I don't know how you missed that. We beat a rival big. I will say runner-up, though, is the U.S. Open Cup smacking we put on Atlanta. That was a pretty good game from start to finish. So I think that's something to consider. Let's see what John said. I'd be shocked if he said anything else. And yep, he takes the 4-3 win versus Fort Lauderdale. So there's that. What's your worst game of the season, Luis? We've had some bad ones.
Man, look, the 6-2. I mean,
the 6-2 loss against FC Cincinnati. Okay.
Yeah, that's.
I'm with you, Luis. I also said the 6-2 loss against FC Cincinnati. I know we've been blanked a few times this year, but that one was a huge momentum killer going into the break. I mean, all you had to do was get a draw in that game, and you could have brought some momentum into the summer, and this team fell flat. And they just really, killed them. John said the 6-0 loss to LAFC or the 6-2 loss to Cincinnati.
I mean, I think he agrees with us. I mean, the LAFC loss was understandable, not understandable, but I mean, you got Heung-min Son, you have, you know what I mean? You have Bouanga. Now, obviously, the way they lost was disgusting, right? But
sure.
I think the Cincy loss it's just like the way they lost is like they threw the towel, dude. Like there was no bite at all.
Can I say this too? I think another runner-up on this one too is the NYCFC game.
100%.
They got blown out in the beginning of the year because guys, it cost Oscar his job. So that's something that you got to consider in terms of in terms of what that looks like. All right, Luis, that's all of it. We put all of it there. I want to say big shout out to all of the folks in the chat that contributed and everything like that. But there's our mid-season grades, Luis. This is where we're at.
Yeah, we're running a little late. Obviously, we were supposed to talk about the U.S. men's national team. We're gonna save that for a pre-recorded video that we're coming out with in the next few days. So, well, probably tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I mean, we just want Orlando City to do great, and I think we're on the poise and on the verge to hopefully turn things around. I think the Open Cup should be the priority. I think the Open Cup must be the priority. I think the fan base, I think it'll make things much easier, even for the front office, to be honest with you, even if Perlman is staying till the end of the year, I think it'll be something for him to be remembered to, and blah, blah, blah. But, again, I think we need a new guy who steers the boat, in my opinion, and that is not to be mean, but certainly, yeah, it's
Luis, before we go today, let's talk about a few just little tidbit news that happened the last couple days. Maybe not all our fans saw it. So number one, let's start with this came out today, so I'll start in chronological order here. Today on Soccer Wise, that's the show with Tom Bogert, David Goss, and Matt Doyle, all former MLS.com guys. They, on their show today, Tom said verbatim, they were talking about Jim Curtin, because all of them think Jim Curtin deserves one of these job openings that's open up right now. There's 7 openings, I think, if I remember correctly, 7 or 8 openings at this point. He said all teams in MLS should consider Jim Curtin. I don't know how anyone feels about that. Whatever. Take that for what it's worth. I mean, I'll say one thing. Jim Curtin will play the kids. There's no doubt about that. So if you want a coach who's going to play the kids, Jim Curtin will play the kids. But in that same line, he said Austin, Portland, Philly. And then when he got to Orlando, he said, I've heard mixed things on if they're focused on getting a new coach or if they're focused on Perlman continuing with the team. We'll kind of see, is what Tom Bogert said. That's what he said he's heard. So to go into that as well, though, for those of us that were Felipe Luis fans, unfortunately, our heart has been broken this week, because Felipe Luis, according to Fabrizio Romano, is going to sign with AS Monaco and be their manager going into the season. So Felipe Luis will get his wish and coach in Europe. He will go to Monaco and take over Monaco. He was also rumored to a job in Germany as well, to Bayern Leverkusen was the role that he was linked to. So, unfortunately, one of our manager crushes is no longer on the market and has gone to Europe. Then the last thing I think we need to talk about, and I'm sure Luis and I are going to get a chuckle out of this rumor, Andre Pierre Gignac was linked to us as of yesterday from a pretty popular Mexican radio show, if I'm not mistaken, right, Luis? In Mexico. What is it? What are they called? I forget what the show is called.
Fútbol Sin Frontera, something like that.
Yeah. They said that apparently Gignac was lined up to not re-sign with Tigres, and that Orlando City was going to bring in Gignac. And then on top of it, there was another source who also claimed, by the way, guys, that Martial was going to sign with Orlando City as well. This is the same guy who said later on in the day that Gignac was going to be a reinforcement for Orlando City, and that he was going to sign for 1 year with Orlando City with the option to extend for $4 million US. That would have made him a DP, guys.
Hell no.
So thankfully, Tommy Scoops swooped in today, and he said, rumors suggesting Orlando City are about to sign Tigres legend Andre Pierre Gignac are completely false, sources say. Completely false. You don't say that unless you are 100% sure that that is completely false.
Yeah, I asked the club for clarification, to be honest with you. I never got a response. But it's true. I mean, it's asinine. It just doesn't make any
You
effing
don't want to
sense.
sign a 40-year-old striker to $4 million a year?
I mean, might as well just get. You could get like, I don't know. You can get Barcos from Peru. You could get
Oh, yeah.
Paulo Guerrero. You can get Luis Suarez's cousin or something. You can get Diego Forlan. I don't know. Look, I just think sometimes, and it has happened in inland countries. They,
Yeah.
they just like to sell smoke, and they use, they think that the Orlando City fan base doesn't do their due diligence to speak
Mm-hmm.
out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, also another good tactic is the same agents do that to stir the pot. So there's suitors coming. Oh, but I want Guignac, and they use them as leverage to ask for a better payday for the player.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think a 40-year-old player has, unless you are Ronaldinho, unless you are Kaká coming back,
Yeah.
getting some nanobots in his body, and or you know what I mean, like um, the Fountain of Youth, Master Corinth's water, from the tower,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's an elite level, a Cristiano Ronaldo, right? That I will understand. Okay, Cristiano Ronaldo is freaking Cristiano Ronaldo, right? But not for Jean Pierre, from Gignac. 100%. No, that did not make any
Well,
sense.
and I want to close on this when you see rumors, guys, because obviously, as you guys know, if you've been following me during the off season and this season, I try to follow rumors to the source, and this one came from a reputable source. This is why I commented on it. But I said on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, you would have seen my comments about this. I said it in our Discord as well. It made zero sense as to why this move was going to happen, especially when the figure of $4 million came out. And again, this is where Mexican media and South American media don't understand MLS roster rules.
100%.
They just assume that teams can just pay whatever they want and it doesn't matter. We can't. And so when agents are dumb enough, and I'm going to say this in this way, when agents are dumb enough to think they can use an MLS team as a bargaining chip, you should understand the roster rules better than how you're selling it. Because you
100%.
just suggested a team that doesn't have a DP spot open right now and has no interest in bringing in an over 40 player because we haven't brought in any old players except for Griezmann.
I
The
don't think
the only reason why this happened was because people are trying to use the French connection as a way to sell smoke. And it's just not a good way to sell smoke.
Yeah, I don't think Ricardo Moreira in their right mind would go for a 40-year-old
Now,
after spending 9 million on 3 under
yeah.
22.
Now let me say this: if Griezmann wants to pick up the phone and bring Mbappe, or if he wants to pick up the phone and bring Kanate,
hey, if
okay,
you want to bring Memphis, I'm all ears.
I'll buy that smoke. I want to give everyone a little tidbit, a piece of good news to kind of end the pod today, Luis. I have heard from multiple sources that the Little Prince, Antoine Griezmann, should be in Orlando around the third week of June. That's the expectation right now, is for him to be in Orlando and be stateside around the third week of June. Now, obviously, he'll probably be doing some World Cup things at the same time and things like that, but the expectation is he will be here around the third week of June, and that the plan is for him to start getting integrated with the team at that point. So, piece of good news, good things to expect, obviously, because I know a lot of people were asking, when is Griezmann going to show up? What I have heard is the third week of June, somewhere around the third week of June is when he should show up.
Yeah, I mean, I commend, and if anybody from the ILF or Ruckus, I'm sure the club will be able to share that information once they know. Make sure you receive them with open arms. I mean, I think it happened with Facu. I think it happened with a lot of other players. It certainly happened with Kaká, right? I remember that. It was amazing. Now, World Cup starting, and next week, literally, I just applied for the Haiti versus Peru friendly. I'm still waiting for my accreditation, but more than likely, I still have to go down south to pick up my credential. So I'm thinking of going to that game. So there's gonna be footage and stuff from, if you're Haitian, ça passe. Make sure you're listening and watching and subscribing. And also, the next day, I have to drive 4 hours and I have to go back to Tampa because in Raymond James, England's going to
Yeah.
face New
Yeah.
Zealand.
Yeah.
So England, New Zealand. So Loud and Proud is going to be accredited for that. So we're going to be handling that as well. I know that for the England Costa Rica game as well, we're accredited, and that's going to be more than likely not me, but our photographer Lucas will be there. But again, World Cup starting, so there's going to be a lot of pre-recorded content, a lot of shorts, a lot of images. So make sure you stay tuned to all our social media. And sometimes, I'll be writing some stuff now on the website as well for some of the games as well. So
Yeah. And don't forget, USMNT fans, the first friendly, these are the last friendlies before the World Cup. The first friendly for the US is this Sunday against Senegal. So they play Senegal on Sunday. So if you want to see some warm-up matches and kind of see what the US men's national team is going to look like, Senegal is a very good opponent to face before the World Cup starts. So
yeah, I'm thinking if everything works fine, there's either going to be a live or there's going to be a pre-recorded content post game. So with our opinions on what occurred. Hopefully, a win for the U.S. national. We're going to be following the U.S. national team. We're also going to be following Paraguay. We're going to be following Croatia because obviously Orlando City players are playing in those teams, right? But there's going to be a lot of content, so stay tuned. So it's starting. So this end of May ends, and then literally I gotta go to Miami for that Haiti Peru, pick up my credential and all of that. It's gonna be crazy, man. You know how much a hotel is nearby there? About $250 a night. I'm gonna have to sleep with a little Havana homeless. I'm just kidding. Is this the July 25th game is still the target? Then it still sounds like thank you.
Yeah, I think that's the goal is for Griezmann to be good to go for the first match outside the break.
Now, do you think do you think Griezmann's going to play the first game I think he's going to play the Open Cup game.
No, he'll play before that. The Open Cup game is not till September.
Oh, true. September 16th.
So
right,
I think what I could see happening is he maybe is a sub for the San Jose game, and then he gets the first start at home the next week against Nashville.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
It just depends on like if we get a new manager and the new manager wants to play him right away, then he plays right away.
The new manager.
If we have Martin Perlman still at the helm,
no, I'm asking what and you can leave comments also. I want to ask this question to the fan base because me and my colleagues, we've been talking and nobody knows how the Orlando City fan. What is the Orlando City fan gonna do if they say, guys, we're gonna roll with Perlman till the end of the year? What do you think about Antoine? What do you think about this answer? Je sais comment ça va, tout le monde. Mes amis, tout.
Luis, you want to know what I'm gonna do? Every single game that this guy continues to be in charge, he's gonna get a critical. He's gonna get a critical rebuke every game.
Oh, man.
And unless he wins a trophy, he's not gonna get a single positive thing from me. Because he's not cut out for this, Luis. I've said this. I'll say it again.
No, I agree with you, man. I just look because if he wins the U.S. Open Cup, knowing Orlando City,
he plays with a handicap. He's got Antoine Griezmann now. Any manager that has Antoine Griezmann should be winning the U.S. Open Cup.
If you don't, that's what I'm saying. We need to treat these games. I mean, with all the respect, and we need to try to get positioned to go to playoffs. Yeah. But we need to put a lot of thought and a lot of care onto the U.S. Open Cup. Those two games are going. If Orlando City is able to manage in this transition year, give the fans a trophy, I know how important this is going to be for the fans. So hopefully they're able to deliver for you guys.
Luis, I'll say this, and to kind of sum up my thought on this is, he is no better than Oscar Pereja unless he can get farther in the MLS playoffs. So that means going to the final at this point. And then my other thing is or he can get us farther in Champions Cup. If he wins an Open Cup, it's the same thing we had with Oscar Pereja. We're looking for better than what Oscar Pereja gave us, right?
No, I completely
and then
agree with you.
I'll say this, and a shout out to Derek, who's on Twitter. They call him the Frog Man, who's around and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna steal his line right here. If they sign Martin Perlman to a permanent job this year and extend him, I will be storming Gate D. I'll put it here first. I'll storm Gate D. I'll be outside with the sign and everything. I'll say
you have to chain yourself outside.
Out with the Wilfs. Out with Ricardo.
Bro.
No, but I won't be happy if they sign him to a permanent deal. I would be floored if they sign him to a permanent deal.
I really doubt that's happening. I mean, and again, we're not trying to bash Perlman at all. He's a good guy. I mean, I like him personally, but it's like what you and every single fan says. You got rid of the old guard. You want new things. You want excitement. You want goals. You want a new way of playing, right? Then why
titles?
Right? Why making all those changes, right? Bringing Griezmann and then putting the same. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense, right? So,
brother, you know what I want? I want an MLS Cup. I want a supporter shield.
100%.
I want a CONCACAF Champions Cup. I want to go to the Club World Cup. That's what I want from this team. That's what this team should be doing.
100%.
So
I agree with you guys. I'll be with you, David.
I got people joining me at Gate D.
I may have lost it. Give me Oscar over him at this point. Me too.
Oh, jeez.
Now, another thing is we may have a new kit.
The retro kit. Yeah.
Very soon. It's a retro kit. Breaking news.
I wonder when they release that, Luis, because I'm sure they don't want to step over the World Cup or anything.
No, it's gonna be after. Yeah. So that's per sources. So it's gonna be a new kit. I heard it's beautiful. So shut up and take my money, like Futurama.
Yeah. My wallet's gonna cry.
Yeah, but I mean, the yellow the yellow kit hasn't been the favorite of the fan base. I see it all the time. But it's
cursed, Luis.
Man, it's one of the nicest jerseys that fits me so well, man. I'm gonna wear it in the next episode. I love it. It says it will be a dream watching PSG winning 7-0 against Crepeau.
I think if this team is in the Club World Cup, Crepeau is probably not our goalkeeper.
No, I will flip out. You imagine Orlando City versus Palmeiras, or Orlando City versus Boca Juniors. I would love to stick it to Boca Juniors. First Griezmann jersey. We'll see. Well, they just gotta bring the 3 lions back. That's one thing I'm asking. I like the 3 lions. But either way, guys, thank you for your support. I know that we just, if you just got here, make sure you rewind. We've had 2 hours of talking about the players, and then stay tuned because more than likely we may either do a live or pre-recorded content for the U.S. men's game on Sunday. Mm-hmm. We'll let you know what we decide to do. But either way, thank you for your support. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one, guys. Vamos, Orlando.
Vamos.